the state of IoT security in a new report. I'm Tonya Hall for ZDNet and Tech Republic, and joining me is Jason Hart, Chief Technology Officer, Enterprise and Cybersecurity at Gemalto. Welcome, Jason.
Hi there.
So what does Gemalto do?
So Gemalto in the Enterprise and Cybersecurity division, we specialize in basically applying confidentiality and integrity controls. So that is encryption, encrypting data transit and rest, keys, so key management, ensuring when you encrypt data, when you generate a key, the key is actually stored in what we call a hardware security module. And then also we provide authentication and access control at the user and at the machine and device level.
Gemalto just released a new report called The State of IoT Security. Before we get into the findings, tell us about the scope of the research. How many decision makers were included? Did you survey, and what kind of markets were included?
Yes, so the survey went out to 950 IT decision makers, really to understand more about IoT security. The findings were, I was actually very shocked, and 79% of the 950 key individuals surveyed actually stated they would like to see some regulatory or robust guidelines around IoT security.
Let's talk about those numbers a little bit more. I mean, it seems that the IoT decision makers are beginning to take IoT security seriously, but why are they taking it seriously?
You know, if I'm an IoT or even a business and I want to consume a technology, I really, at the top of mind is security now, not just kind of information security, but it's all about data. Data is the new oil. And organizations are now starting to realize in the event of a breach, the potential impact from a reputational damage or the privacy impact. So if I was the CEO of an organization, I was looking to consume technology or IoT technology into my organization, I would like to understand the level of security or the controls that are within that technology itself before I could deploy it. In addition to that, if I was to bring IoT technology into my business, what potential data or privacy issues could I be impacting my employees if they're using that technology?
So one of the findings was that less than half of the companies can detect if their IoT devices suffer a breach. Why the disconnect between wanting security and making it possible to know if they actually have it?
I think the biggest issue here is, yes, the IoT technology can be brought in, treat it as an edge device, but because of the nature of IoT, it's a thing that's generating data. And then using that data and passing it on to part of a business process. But the issue is the IoT itself it's very deep into a broader ecosystem. So if I'm a consumer or a business consuming IoT, there's going to be other environments, cloud environments, third parties, APIs that are also potentially accessing that data. So that's for me the biggest issue here. So from a guideline point of view, wouldn't it be great to have a particular guideline recommendation for any IoT manufacturer to basically ensure there's a fine out or some standard confidentiality integrity controls which actually protects the wider ecosystem?
Can we always trust the core data generated by IoT devices?
I would like to say yes, but again, because of digital transformation, digital disruption, we don't always necessarily know where the data is going. Now, from the core objective of an IoT device is to generate data, is to take that data and then use that data to make an appropriate business decision. Now, if for some way along the line, as part of the process, if the attacker was to have the ability to alter the integrity of the data unbeknown to the organization, and then that information, that data is used somewhere downstream to make a business decision, but unbeknown to them that the integrity is incorrect, there is going to be a downstream effect.
You mentioned that 79% of companies call on governments to provide more robust guidelines on IoT security, but don't the IoT manufacturers and users actually know more about the threats and what they need to do to address them?
So I think, like any new technology or any new industry, I think we need to kind of learn from history. So a couple of things here. I've been in the information security industry for coming up to 26 years now. Started off life as an ethical hacker, and we, it's only just now, I'd like to say, we're learning from the past. When cloud was first established and adoption, security was very low down on the actual, the need for security. And over time, we've realized actually security needs to be at the forefront. What's really, really pleasing for me is that we're starting to recognize that within IoT, it's a new technology, that security needs to be a consideration. And that's being driven by the consumer and the organization who's going to consume the technology. However, I still think that the manufacturers, the startups or the IoT manufacturers need to ensure that security is at the top of the solution they're bringing to market, because it doesn't necessarily always, it's not always at the top of their list. So for example, some IoT technology allows you to apply certain security controls. Other IoT technology, there's no way where you can apply security controls. So for me, the starting position is, as an IoT manufacturer, at least give the organization or your customer the option to apply appropriate security controls and make it their choice. Because at the moment, there isn't a choice. Secondly, I think, if we're going to go down, standards or guidelines, let's, make a decision on what type of industry or what type of data. Certain types of data are more valuable to a hacker. So if we're going to go off down the guidelines or standards or regulation approach, let's clearly define what type of data actually needs protecting, and the protection, what type of security controls needs to apply into that, and then work back from there. Otherwise, we're just going to say, right, we're going to put a guideline everywhere. So that means, the toy teddy bear that is just communicating with the internet and maybe not holding any sensitive information has the potential same security control as a financial IoT device, where the levels of risk are actually different.
All right, Jason, what were the big takeaways? What should we take away from this report, and how should we be looking at security today?
So the big takeaways are, for me, it's that there's an acknowledgement that, people want more robust security controls around IoT. People are starting to understand the reputational risk. They're starting to understand that the value of data. But for me, let's go back and address the fundamental user needs. If we look at the core principles of information security, it's confidentiality, integrity, accountability, and auditability. Availability is kind of solved with the adoption of cloud and new emerging virtualization environments. However, how do we make confidentiality, integrity default within an IoT device appropriate to the risk that's trying to be mitigated? For me, that's a fundamental user need, and we need to address the user need. If we address the user need, security just follows.
Sounds good. Thank you so much, Jason, for your insight. If somebody wants to get a copy of the report, or maybe they want to connect with you, how can they do that?
So if you go onto the Gemalto website, and if you just look in the press section, you'll see the latest report. Alternatively, they can contact me directly on Twitter, Hart, HART_Jason, or they can find me on LinkedIn.
And again, that was Jason Hart, Chief Technology Officer, Enterprise and Cybersecurity at Gemalto. And you can find more of my interviews right here on ZDNet or Tech Republic, or go to my website, tonyahall.net. I've got links to all my social sites. Thanks for watching.